Welcome everyone to another virtual wine tasting. I am so glad to have you all here. It's my pleasure to introduce Akash Patel from Akash Winery and Vineyard in Temecula, California. Welcome, Akash.
How's it going? It cut out there a little bit towards the end, I think, but
Welcome.
nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm really excited to talk about Temecula wine. It's actually California Wine Month, and Temecula put a little spin on that, Temecula Valley Wine Month. So I'm really excited about this. Ooh, getting some feedback there. I think we're good now. Our first wine that we're going to taste is one that I'm really, really excited about. It is a sparkling rosé, and I've always been in search of the rosé that I'm going to fall in love with, and I'm hoping that maybe this will be it. These bottles are beautiful. They're heavy. We were talking about it before. This is a solid wine, but wine bottle. So Akash, tell us a little bit about the wine, and after that, let's launch in to hear your story and how you got involved in wine.
All right. So this was a crazy idea my dad got 20 years ago. Yeah, he brought this idea home. We are in the motel business. My parents have been in it since the 80s when they migrated over to the States. And my dad was building motels and doing that in New Mexico. That's where I was born. Then we moved over to Orange County here in California, and we were looking for a motel to buy. Oddly enough, we were looking in different areas, and my dad was going to buy a motel in Temecula Valley. The deal ended up not working out short towards the end, but his brain kind of saw a few wineries out in Temecula, and it was kind of a ghost town, but there was like 5 wineries in the year 2000, and he kind of looked at it and said, well, why can't we do wine tasting, have a vineyard, and put a lodging facility for everybody to come to and enjoy. So he brought home a painting of a vineyard, oddly enough, one of the times he came out here, and it was of a vineyard, put it up on our wall in our home in Orange County and said to me and my mom, one day we're going to do this. And he put a painting, or he took a picture of the motel he just finished building in New Mexico, pasted it onto that painting, and said, we're going to do this one day. We're going to do a
Ooh,
Okay.
staying the night, just seeing how it was. Oh, I'm frozen.
Yep, you were just briefly. You're good now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we would start coming out here a lot to look for property and see how things were going out here, what the lifestyle was like. And over the 10 years, we started looking, and we bought our property in 2010. We found that property was just dirt. There wasn't even a water line, no vineyards, not a building, but there was vineyards around it. And it was a new road. It was still dirt road when we got it. Now it's paved. But we embarked on that day, and we just went into it blindly. We had no background in the viticulture, no wine business knowledge, nothing. My dad loved wine, but that's about as far as it kind of went. And at that point, in 2010, we purchased it, and the next year we started developing, moved all the water lines in, and started putting our vineyard in. Once we planted our entire property out, pretty much about 17 acres. And then as we started figuring out what we were going to do, we started pulling some vines out and started building. And at that point, I was about 21 years old when we bought the property. I had no idea what any of this was going to be like. But my dad named it after me. And he said, this is going to be for you one day. If you ever want to take it on and do it, or if not, we can just live on the property and sell the grapes and just have a cool view, but it's up to you wherever you want to take it. So the more I spent time out here and started really kind of getting more involved with everything, I really just found this huge passion. It was like my calling. I loved it. I loved every part of it. I loved the chaos. I loved creating a wine and creating a brand and getting dirty and doing, all the farming to winemaking to building. I did all the project management for it. I dealt with the county to develop the entire place out, make sure that we could do everything that we dreamed of doing, which was putting a resort on the property, putting the wine tasting facility, doing production, and having our vineyards and everything. So that took me a few years to figure everything out and get through all the government agencies. And within that time, I found a winemaker, and our first harvest was in 2014. So we let the vines go for a few years because they were babies. So we had to let them get to mature state to start picking from them. And we found our winemaker. We started making some wines, very small batch. In 2015, we were making wine in another facility until we had a facility up. In 2015, we started developing our building. We just put up a big 5,000 square foot metal barn, and that was just kind of a storage place. And I started kind of running wine tastings and stuff in there for people who were intrigued while we were developing and building. So if someone drove up, I'd say, hey, come on in, try some of our wines, and started building a little bit of a brand, and started developing our wine club and getting people to know what we're doing here, who we are, what we're going to be building, and what our dreams are. And slowly that began to get a little bit of a following. And once our plans were all approved, we actually retrofitted that building, that barn that we put up, to be a tasting room and our production facility. And in all this time, I was bringing in the electricity, the sewer line, and getting everything connected. And then we finished the outside of the building to be a modern, kind of Tuscan-looking building. And the inside, we decorated it very nicely. And then we have all of our own production equipment now, our crusher destemmer, our press, all of our own pumps. We have 9 tanks in the back, and we do all of our winemaking in-house now.
So that's a long way to come in 10 years.
Yeah, it has been much more than what I just said. That's the
quick. I'm sure you didn't talk about the sleepless nights and the headaches that come along with all those things.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a lot of this right here.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, tell us about the rosé.
So this rosé, it's actually kind of special for us right now. I've always wanted to make a champagne. We were never ready before, but in 2018, we felt like we were ready to do it. We had already had a successful rosé that we made in 2017. And then in 2018, I said, hey, I would really like to bring champagne in, but I don't want to force carbonate my champagne. I want it to be Met de Champenois, like they do in Champagne, France. So he was like, wow, okay. You have my... Started digging into how to... And this took us, Met de Champenois dairy fermentation occurs inside the bottle for 18 months. So it took us a while to get this thing down, but we got it. It's phenomenal. It's a dry style rosé. Beautiful flavors, that rose petal, that grapefruit, nice citrus notes, but it finishes dry. It ended up being an extra brut rosé. But our winery, we kind of focus on a drier style of wines, but we only made 100 cases of it. This is only available for wine club members currently.
Oh, wow.
It's a wine club special, so you have to be a part of the membership to be able to get this wine. That's the only wine we have on that list right now. But this coming year, we'll have a lot more, because now we're having a lot of fun in our production facility with all the fun tools we have and the flexibility we have of doing everything in-house. We can start doing small batch stuff and still making our other stuff in hundreds of cases.
This is really nice. I can see sitting around on I'm in Seattle, so it's not always summer. I know you have summer more than we do. But I can see sitting around on a deck, conversation, friends, very enjoyable, not overly sweet.
Right. It is a lot of fragrances, a lot of aromas on this wine, and the bubbles are beautiful. They just pop off the tongue the whole time and kind of coat the whole mouth. Just like they should if they are, it's a traditional champagne. If it was forced carbonated, it's going to lack a lot of that texture and that flavor.
So are there any, show of hands here, any big rosé fans? This is actually, we have 2 there. This is actually, like I said, new for me. I have not been a rosé fan, but I can see how the sparkling just changes it so much.
Yeah. It's definitely an added flair. You know,
Hmm.
bubbles are always fun. It makes the wine fun.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. Bubbles are always fun.
Yeah.
Do you have to grow a different kind of grape to do that than you were doing before? Is that what I understood?
No, you do not. So typical champagne, they're going to use Chardonnay is majority of the time that's what they're using. We made this from our Zinfandel varietal. So we make a still rosé, a sparkling rosé. We make a red wine Zinfandel, and then we also use our Zinfandel in our red blend. So we actually use it multiple ways. And now this year we started making a sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. So we also have Sauvignon Blanc growing on the property, and now we are making that sparkling version as well, and doing Method Champenois with that one.
Any possibility for a sparkling red?
Sparkling red. I'll never say never, but uh, not right now.
Not right now. It just seemed like
Yeah,
the festive color and theme for the holidays. Uh,
yeah, it's an in thing. People definitely like it. I just feel we're focused on, we try and focus on a few things at one time to try and make sure we're taking home awards with these wines, that
sure.
people are enjoying these wines, that we're not just kind of messing around and making whatever. Will we do that in the future? Will we maybe make a sparkling red? Possibly. We're always up for new stuff, just when we get there.
Sure. You were doing so much with the Syrah. That's why no, the Zinfandel. I'm sorry. You were doing so much with the Zinfandel. I just wondered. So, but since we're speaking of the Syrah, that is the second one that we have to taste
Uh-huh.
here. So, let me get this bottle.
That is, yeah. Let's pour that
Another,
one up.
another beautiful bottle here. Tell us about this, and then I have some more questions for you about our winery. But let's get started.
So this Syrah here is a pretty cool Syrah. You'll notice too, just a quick little, this is our Syrah bottle here. We named, we have a line of wine called Dreamville, meaning the house of dreams that my parents built, and I hope to continue those dreams. And then you'll see this label, which we'll try next. This is our estate Cabernet Sauvignon. So anything that's estate will come in this label here. Anything we manage, now we actually manage other vineyards. I didn't mention that earlier, but we manage our own vineyard for several years. And then I told our winemaker, let's start managing other vineyards so we can bring in more fruit, but it's up to our quality. I don't want to be on the buyer's market and buying fruit from anybody. I want to make sure we're managing it and we're taking care of that fruit. So it's the same standard as our estate, just not coming from it. So this one we bring in from another property that we manage, just right outside Temecula Valley. It's a really cool little microclimate with where it's kind of foresty, desert, and then we have a coastal breeze from San Diego coming through. So some really nice fruit that actually comes from there. My winemaker's a huge fan of it. That's why we took on the vineyard. And this wine in specific was only barrel aged for 14 months in all neutral oak. So it's a lighter wine. Definitely the fruit is going to show itself, and that's the intention, is to show that fruit off as well in this wine. Easy drinking. It's for anybody who wants to get it, open it up, don't need to lay it down. It's ready to go. It's full of life. It's ready. But still nice toasty notes on it from that oak,
Oh,
but
the
nothing
the notes are
overpowering.
the notes are wonderful.
Yeah, this wine actually received 93
Where
points from Wine Enthusiast.
90 what?
93 points from
Oh,
Wine
wow.
Enthusiast. Yeah, very, very happy about that.
Mm.
where can we find this wine? Can we buy it locally?
Only on our website. Um, all of our wines right now, we
Okay.
are direct to consumer, or if you join us at our tasting room, you can try it and buy it there. But you can visit our website. We ship all over, so we can ship directly to you, not a problem.
So let's talk about current events simply because we have to, and how
Okay.
COVID has impacted everybody's being able to travel, taste wine, and do business. So what are you currently doing, and how do you see that evolving in the next month or so?
So right now, we are open for business. Thank God that we are allowed to do that outside only. So we're open outdoors. I've completely vamped up our patios because we have 360-degree views As you can see behind you, that's a view of our property right there. Those are our vineyards right behind you. So we have like about 8,000 square feet of patio space. We put shade all over it. We have misters everywhere. We're hosting drive-in movie nights.
I saw that. So
Yeah.
are the movies in the vineyard?
No, so during COVID, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to build a resort. So for the past 2 years, I've been moving that vineyard out and transplanting those vines. And we finally got all the machinery and all the guys to come in to move that dirt. And then this whole COVID thing hit and we shut down. So me and my dad looked at each other like, do we stop? Do we keep going? We said, well, let's just move the dirt, get it ready. So we flattened 2 acres and we used it as a parking lot for a little bit. But I said to myself, why can't we park cars up here, keep them in their cars and put on a show? So I hooked up with a local husband and wife operation. They have a big screen and it's about a 20-foot screen. They put it up, they show the movie and everything's, you tune into your car radio station. We have a food vendor, you can buy wine, all that fun stuff. And we play really classic flicks.
You can buy, and I mean, I know we have to be careful about drinking and driving issues, but obviously have a designated driver, but you can have your wine in your car?
Yeah, so they actually kind of sit around their car.
Okay.
And the ABC regulations right now have been a little bit more diminished, but drive-ins are always allowed, and they sell alcohol at drive-ins, so we're not doing anything different than that.
Okay.
We're just using our space, efficiently.
In Washington, you can't do that. So.
Yeah.
Oh, to be in California. So the inn, where's, obviously you're kind of in a holding pattern. Where do you see that going?
Well, we booked out the rest of the year for the drive-ins because it was such a big hit. So I told my dad, hey, if the drive-ins just become a success, maybe we don't build the resort. But no, we would end up building the resort. But for now, if I can utilize that space and have a cool thing for people to do, why not? I'm always about trying out new ideas. I'm never scared to try something and fail. That's part of life, and that's part of being successful is you're going to fail. So we tried it out. It worked, and if it keeps working, we're going to keep doing it. And we're still hosting our yoga classes. It's all outside. You have to wear a mask. We have a yoga wine club. You can come do yoga on our patios with our instructor, and then you have a glass of wine after. And it's awesome. It's very beautiful. It's scenic. It's in the morning, and it's a great way to start your weekend off. And then you get a nice glass of rosé after. So there's nothing better than that.
Makes yoga a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like hospitality is in your family DNA.
It is. It's
so
definitely.
These things just seem to be an extension of that.
Yeah. When I say we grew up in the hospitality industry, my dad built motels, but he also built our home, and it was attached to the motel. And my parents would check the guests in. They would take care of us. We would help them check guests in. They would make the beds. My dad would fix the place up. It's really mom and pop style. And we run all of our businesses mom and pop style. I'm at the winery every day. I'll serve, I'll pick up trash. I help make the wine. I help do the farming. I do, all the back end stuff. I have 20 employees. So that in its own is its fun job. And I try and be as diverse as I can and just take what my parents have given me and just, don't take it for granted any day.
Now, are your parents still in the area?
Yeah, so they still live in Orange County, which is about a 45-minute drive from Temecula Valley, and they also live in New Mexico still. We still have some hotels out there as well, and so they go back and forth. Like right now, they're in New Mexico, and a few days they'll come back to Orange County, and on the weekends they'll come out, hang out with the guests, see how things are going, and same hospitality, like hang out with people and make sure everyone's doing good and make them feel like family, because that's what we want people to come to our place and feel like they can hang out, enjoy themselves. They're getting taken care of by a family establishment.
Well, earlier when we were talking, before everyone joined us, we did see, just a second here. Earlier we did see the winery dog. So
Hmm.
is he still around, or did he get banished?
I think he went up with my wife to go lay down with her. He was at the winery all day today, and he was having a blast. He comes with me most of the days when I go to work. Besides Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a little too busy to take care of a little child like that.
Yeah.
But he just runs. He was running around all day. He's also our greeter. He greets all the guests, make sure they're doing good.
Well, and soon there will be another generation in the hospitality business here.
There is. We're just a few short weeks away from that.
So you're hoping that he or she will have that love for the hospitality business that your parents imparted to you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a boy.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, super excited. Just to, this is a new journey in life. This is gonna be a um, new adventure for me and my wife, and I think it's gonna be a fun one. We're excited and can't wait. And I can't wait to show him all the great things that my family's done and teach him our ways and ways of life and how to operate a winery that one day hopefully he'll want to take on, if he's up for the task. It's a
Sure,
fun one.
sure. Well, our third wine here is the Cabernet. Why don't you take us into that one?
Yeah. So this one right here I got it. I'm not biased, but it's one of my favorite reds. I love all my wines equally, but this one here, right when we bottled it and we finished this wine, it just came out the gates as a shining star. It was smooth. Our cabs aren't big bodied cabs like Napa. They're not super earthy, but this one here, it's that medium body, kind of on its way to full. It's silky. It has nice textures to it. You still get that cherry. You get hints of that vanilla, and this is a cab that I don't think you really necessarily need to pair it up with a meal. That's kind of why I chose these wines here in specific. Is these are wines that I can talk to you guys about and just drink, and it's not like we need to pair it up with anything. It's that I'm sitting on the couch, enjoying a movie on Netflix and drinking this wine, or I'm out at the winery and I've already eaten, but I'm going to enjoy this wine here. That's what I think these are great wines,
Well,
and
and
they're not so
that
hearty,
totally that totally describes our COVID, experience
right?
for the past 6 months or so. So that just sit back and watch a movie and have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
This is really nice. Now, I'll be honest, I'm predisposed toward cabs.
Uh-huh. Why is that?
So I just like the variety of flavors and nuance that you get in a cab.
Yeah. Cabs they can be a lot. They can definitely be big and a lot.
But this isn't overpowering. I think there's a lot of nuance in it.
Yeah, I think, and that's why I chose it, because it's like I said, you don't need to pair it. It's smooth. It's easy. It has nice fragrances. It has good fruit to it. It's not overpowering, very well balanced. And that's one thing Renato, our head winemaker, is always telling me is we're going to guide that fruit and that vintage in the right direction and not overstep it. We're not going to put too much oak on it. We're going to let the fruit do the talking, but we're going to use our tools to let that fruit shine at the end of the day. We're showcasing that and respecting that varietal.
So when I think of Temecula and the Temecula wine industry, I sort of think of it as the Napa Sonoma of the LA region. Is that fair?
I guess can you repeat that? It cut out. You said Napa
Sure.
Sonoma.
I think of Temecula as sort of the equivalent to Sonoma and Napa, only in the LA basin. Is that a fair comparison?
That they're on the same level.
Yes.
I am very thankful for that. I say yes. I think that we're on our journey up.
Mm-hmm.
We were named top 10 wine destination of the world last year by Wine Enthusiast. USA Today named us top 10 wine region this year. We're getting those accolades. Our wine is being taken in shows and they're getting rated. We're receiving Wine Enthusiast ratings now, Wine Spectre ratings. They're coming out here and they're saying, oh, Temecula Valley. Oh, have we been around for 50 years? Yeah. Has everything been very serious for 50 years? Maybe not. Has it been getting serious in the last 10 years? Oh, yeah. what's happening in the next 10 years, it's going to be even just crazier. I think a lot of people, just like myself, they're coming out here and we're starting wineries or getting into this industry, and they're passionate. They want to see this place succeed. They want to see it grow. They want to see great wines being made. They want to see that Temecula Valley all around the world. They want it to be recognized. That's the way I feel, and I know a lot of those our local winemakers here, people who have been in this business for a long time. We're ready for the challenge, and we're ready to start getting noticed like we finally are. And I think it's a great comparison because we are just a fun getaway, just like Napa. There's a lot of elegance out here. There's a lot of cool places to visit. And not to say we're more than Napa, but we are. Temecula Valley has the brewery scene. We have really cool breweries out here. We have a really cool nightlife out here, awesome restaurants, beautiful wine country. It's a family town. It's built on good stuff going on here. A lot of small businesses. It's a great place. I always tell people this is a diamond in the rough, and it's only growing. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge one day.
Do you have some tips or recommendations for people who might be, saving information and researching for that time when we can travel to Temecula?
Yeah, of course. Well, if you're coming out, you got to visit us. That's number one. If you're looking for a place to stay, I love a lot of places, but some that come off the top of my head that we partner with are the places. It's called the New Inn. It's a bed and breakfast. It's right next to our winery. It's not too far. Stellar place, out of this world. Owner operated, beautiful couple who owns it. And then there's the Rusty Fork Ranch, also owner operated. It's a really cool place. The New Inn's very elegant. The Rusty Fork Ranch is like elegant farmhouse. They have goats. They have really cool dogs on the property, farm to table stuff, so you can go pick vegetables out. The owners are awesome as well. And then there's Domaine Chardonnay if you're looking for that kind of a classy Italian place. And owners are also living on property. They're really awesome people. The husband's actually trying to become a winemaker, and he's making wine at the house. So you can, if you're staying there, he might, show you some stuff that he's working on. And it's everywhere here has cool experiences when you stay at these owner operated bed and breakfasts. It's very hospitable. They take care of you, they guide you, and they don't step over you. They check you in and make sure you're set up, and, they'll help you out. They'll pull your wine. It's awesome experience. It's not like, oh, why is someone staying here with us? But you have your own area, you have your own place, you have your own room, and it's awesome what they put together out here. A lot of cool experiences above and beyond that. Breweries, my favorite brewery is 8-Bit Brewery out here. They are really ahead of the brewing game. They are doing tremendous things out here. They're a fantastic brewery. And then restaurants, Small Barn. It's a new one that just opened up. They're doing really fantastic things. And Goat and Vine, that's another one that's always been out here, and that's just been a rock star. They're always quality and consistent, great ownership as well. And Be Good, another new restaurant. They have a cool thing going on over there. It's fun. It's lively. You can do themed dinners with them and stuff, like dining in the dark, and murder mystery dining and stuff. They have really cool stuff that they do there. So there's all these, like, this is just a little bit of what the experiences are like out here. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Now,
hot air balloon rides.
I'm sure, because that's got to be beautiful over the valley there.
Yeah.
Now, are most places open and doing business perhaps under modified conditions right now?
Everything's very modified and everything's outside. Yeah, if you're open and you're allowed to be open, you are operating outside. Okay. In 100-degree weather.
Well, yeah. It's a lot different from those of us up here in Seattle who think it's hot when it gets in the mid-70s. So.
Yeah.
What is the best time then to plan a visit to Temecula?
I think October, November is a really beautiful time to come out here. You may not, I love September. It's hot, but you're in the full effect of harvest. So if you're out here, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff going on at the wineries. You're going to see a lot of activity. Your tour experiences behind the scenes are going to be very elevated because there's so much going on and so much to see. October, November, when the fall colors start coming in and the leaves are turning colors, I think it's a beautiful time. The weather's cooling down. It's really, really nice. And then springtime, when the buds are just starting to sprout and it's still cooler weather, great time to come out.
Now, is October crush for you?
Some years, yeah. Most of the time it can. It varies every year. We started harvest about August 18th was our first time we harvested this year for our sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. We're harvesting Riesling tonight, so I'll be heading there right after this. Yeah.
What airport would you fly into to get to your area?
San Diego or John Wayne Airport in Orange County. Either one. I would do San Diego. It's a 45-minute drive. You're in San Diego. It's amazing down there. You can even book a night there and then come out to Temecula. It's really fun.
And I think there were some limo and tour companies that will customize a winery tour for you out of San Diego as well. Yeah,
so you would want to look up Tour del Vino. They're a really good one out here. And then if you want to schedule one while you're in town, SoCal Sidecars. If you're up for an adventure, they actually operate off of our property, and it's a motorcycle company. They have little side baskets.
Oh, sidecars.
Yeah, and they have a driver, and then you're in the sidecar, and they take you through the vines, and they take you to a couple of wineries, and you start and stop at our place. So we partnered up with them, and they run and start all their tours off of our place. Yeah.
Now, are the wineries in the area, are they fairly spread out, or are there pockets where you can do a bunch close together?
I would say you can do a lot together. Okay. Everybody, we're all like not too far from each other. It's very easy to hit 4 wineries in a day.
Okay.
That's a typical thing people do, 3 to 4 wineries in a day. There's about 50 wineries, just around 50 wineries, and there's one main road with tons of wineries, and then we're off of a side road, and then there's a couple other side roads, and then there's another main road called De Portola. So Rancho Cal and De Portola are the main roads, and then we're on Cayo Contento, and then there's Glen Oaks, and there's a few other small roads, but they all come off of those roads. And it's not too big, but it's growing. A lot more is coming. So
with minimal planning, you could, map out a nice weekend to see 3 or 4 each day, and
on the fly.
Have lots of time to enjoy everything else.
Oh yeah, definitely you can do it on the fly. That's what's pretty cool about Temecula. It's very lenient. Now with COVID, there's more reservation stuff going on.
Sure.
But prior to it, it was come on in, come check us out. Here's your tasting ticket. You don't need a reservation, and more of a free-for-all style.
Sure. And right now we are recommending that everyone, check the website or make a phone call, because sometimes it feels like something changes day to day. What was okay today is not tomorrow, or vice versa.
Yeah.
What's your website? What's your website?
It is www.akashwinery.com.
Okay. And that's where we can order our wine through the website.
Yep. Okay. Yes, you can.
I pulled up a map. Do you mind if I ask? I saw it earlier, like a bunch of wineries, like 10 or 15 wineries all around yours on the map.
Yep.
You had said yours is like 17 acres. I don't know much about wineries. Is that small, medium, or large compared to some of your neighbors out there?
So typically everybody is to be a wine tasting facility and a winery, you have to be 10 acres. So 10 acres is the min, where there's quite a few in that 10 to 15 acre range. And then there are some like us where we're in that 20 acre range plus. And then there's very few that are in that 50 to 75 acres plus.
All right. Well, we always try to keep this in around a 45-minute mark. So let's get to any other questions that anybody might have, either about wine in general, about Akash Winery, or Temecula. Any other questions?
I just have one more, if you don't mind, about...
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so you had said you started managing other wineries now because you wanted to be in control of the fruit that comes in. So now you grow your own fruit, you manage other fruit, and you make the wine on site. I'm just curious with this business, like what's the bottleneck of growing at this point? Do you have more capacity to create more wine if you had more fruit? And is the bottleneck, managing more, or are you at capacity pretty much for what you can do in your facility?
Great question. We definitely tested the waters last year. We crushed 100 tons. And we did about 60 tons off of our property, and we brought in another 37 tons off of properties we were managing. That pushed us to our limits. I would say that's our threshold right there. We're simply out of space. At that point, we don't have a big facility, but this year I'm actually expanding our facility, and we're gonna add another about 2,000 square feet to it. And so we can add more tanks, more barrel room storage, more case good storage, and then we don't have that bottleneck problem anymore. Then we can keep pushing forward.
Cool, interesting. I'd love to go one day.
Yeah, thank you.
So our question is, we were wondering about, so here in Washington, like some wineries, they can't, like the people who grow the grapes are pretty fussy about who they will sell their grapes to.
Oh yeah.
And so is that the same there? That was our question.
Fussy, I don't know if that's the right word, but I definitely know everybody wants to know that their stuff's in good hands. And that's why we will tell the owners, hey, we're going to manage that vineyard from start to finish. That's the only way we're going to take the fruit. That way we know it's under our control. If the owner were to do something wrong with the vineyard that we didn't like, I'm not going to sit there and say, well, I don't want your fruit anymore, right? It's me and my winemaker handled that from start to finish. We serviced it throughout the whole year. We know the quality and what to expect out of it. It's on us. And at that point, I can say, hey, it's up to par on what's going on our estate. Now, I have no problem serving that to anybody on our property. I can say, you know what, it's coming from another place, but we're making sure that this is high quality fruit. We're not messing around with that. So, and then we bring it in, everything's made in our facility under the same protocols as our estate wine. So I think that they're not fussy, but we like to make sure that we are on top of it for our own sake.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being fussy. That's not a bad word.
No, not at all. Yeah.
About insisting on quality control. And I think any entrepreneur is will embrace the concept.
Thank you. The ranch, we looked that up. It looks amazing. And the sidecar thing looks amazing.
Right.
So
that's really unique.
Are the
really
wineries,
cool
is it like a 100-mile area, 50-mile area? What's the area that it covers?
I would say 25 to 40 miles around there. Nothing bigger than that for sure.
Yeah, that actually is compact.
Yeah. And then there's little wine regions starting to pop up right on the outskirts of us. Fallbrook, Duluth, they're just across the way. They're about a 20-30 minute drive. And then Warner Springs, which is like a 20-minute drive. Those places, it's going to be kind of like, that Napa Sonoma, and then there's Oakville and this and that. It's kind of starting to become that, where you'll be able to, there's 100 wineries here in Temecula. And what I'm going to go to those wineries there.
Well, it'll be sort of like, you go from Napa to Geyserville to Healdsburg, and who knows how much farther up the valley that'll go. Okay, I've got to put my glasses on to read this. Okay, so we have a couple of specials that I will tell you about. There is a special that's running for the month of September that will give anyone making an order, it's 10% off 3 bottles and a $10 flat rate for shipping. If you've shipped wine late, you'll know what a real deal that is. Yeah. That calculates And that's calculated right in their website. I should ask you, I know that Alaska Airlines in several markets has the wine fly free. Do you know if that's in effect for John Wayne?
They will package your wine for free. Oh.
I don't know that question actually.
I will check into that because I know a lot of
Yeah.
times they have, and all you have to do is just get a case box, and then just case and fill it up as you go and take it to the airport. They'll inspect and seal it, and then just pick it up when you get home, and no charge when you're actually there. And the other thing is we do have a giveaway, and that will be a tour of the winery and tasting for 2 people. Which normally is a fee-based service, and I will do a draw after we wrap everything up and get an email out to everybody in about an hour, and let you know who the person is who has won that. Yeah. So any other questions before we wrap it up and call it a night? And at least on our end at our house, finish the wine.
No questions.
Sorry, it cut out.
On your baby. Good luck with all that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And once again, thank you all for joining us. Virtual wine tasting is sometimes the only way that we can connect. And even though we may not all be drinking the same wine, we're still sharing our love of wine, tourism, travel, and our wishful thinking for when we can all be visiting Temecula and other favorite areas again. So thank you all for joining us, and I'll have this up in a blog post, YouTube, and out on the podcast in the next couple of days. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Bye,
me.
everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Akash